Hi friends, today we are going to discussing about different methods of ATP produced in living organisms. So, what are the ways that ATP produced in living organisms? Metabolism is the basis for life and living processes. As you all know, all living cells perform metabolic processes, and these metabolic processes are the basis for life or living processes. And all these metabolic processes are mediated by ATP. So ATP mediates all metabolic processes. As you all know, metabolism contain two opposite different processes. Those are catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism is breakdown process where ATP produced, and anabolism is the construction process where that produced ATP is utilized. In this way, ATP mediates all metabolic processes. If you take the structure of ATP, it contains three components. One is nitrogen base, that is adenine. Second one is sugar, that is pentose sugar, ribose. And third component is phosphates. It contains one adenine, one pentose sugar, that is ribose, and three phosphates. That's why it is called adenosine triphosphate. In living organisms, this ATP produced by three methods. One method is, popular method is oxidative phosphorylation. In this oxidative phosphorylation, whatever the metabolites, for example, carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, whatever the metabolite converted into acetyl-CoA, and these acetyl-CoA enter into mitochondrial matrix where it undergoes tricarboxylic acid cycle or Krebs cycle, and it produces NADH and FADH2. And these NADH and FADH2 are called again enter into electron transport chain through complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, complex 4 like that, and finally it produces ATP. So this process is known as oxidative phosphorylation. It takes place in mostly animals or whatever the organism that contain mitochondria perform oxidative phosphorylation. So this is called oxidative phosphorylation and one way of ATP production method in living organisms. Another method is photophosphorylation. You all know photosynthesis is the carbohydrate production process in plant cells by using water molecule, CO2 and sunlight. This photosynthesis process contain two sub-processes. Those are light reaction and dark reaction. In light reaction, photophosphorylation takes place through non-cyclic and cyclic pathways. This photophosphorylation generally taking place in chloroplast that containing grana or thylakoid membranes. So this photophosphorylation taking place in chloroplast and in chloroplast where grana or thylakoid membrane. So here two different photophosphorylation processes taking place. One is non-cyclic where two different types of photosystems involved, that is P700 and P680. So in this non-cyclic photophosphorylation, first water splits into two H plus oxygen and two electrons, and these two electrons travel through photosystem 2 and photosystem 1 and finally produce ATP and NADPH. So this process is known as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. And another one is cyclic photophosphorylation. This is also taking place in membrane of thylakoid or grana that are present in chloroplast. So here only one photosystem is involved, that is P700. In this, whatever the electron generated, that is cyclically traveled through the different components of the cyclic pathway and finally reach to the P700 or photosystem. In this way, in this cyclic pathway, only ATP is produced. Whereas in non-cyclic pathway, both ATP and NADPH are produced. In this way, in plants during photosynthesis, there are two processes are present. One is light reaction, another one is dark reaction. In light reaction, photophosphorylation taking place. This photophosphorylation again categorized into two types. Those are non-cyclic and cyclic. In non-cyclic and cyclic, both ATP produced, but in non-cyclic, there are two photosystems involved, that is P700 and P680. Whereas in cyclic pathway, only one photosystem is involved, that is P700. Both these processes finally produce ATP. This photophosphorylation process where actually taking place means in chloroplast, thylakoid or grana are present. In thylakoid or grana, there is membrane is present. That membrane, these non-cyclic and cyclic photophosphorylation process taking place. So this is another way of ATP production process, especially or particularly occur in plants or photosynthetic plants. And third type of ATP production process is substrate level phosphorylation. This is different one. There is no need of electron transport in this substrate level phosphorylation. If you take one example, in glycolysis, there is one step is there, that is phosphoenol pyruvate. This phosphoenol pyruvate converted into pyruvate. So during this process, one ATP is produced without undergoing any electron transport chain or photophosphorylation process. This is known as substrate level phosphorylation. Whenever there is certain molecules are there, high energy molecules are there, that high energy molecules directly produce ATP by converted into another molecule. For example, here phosphoenol pyruvate is a high energy molecule, pyruvate is a low energy molecule. Whenever phosphoenol pyruvate converted into pyruvate, some of amount of energy is released as ATP. So in this way, this is known as substrate level phosphorylation. Whenever without electron transport chain ATP production taking place, that ATP production is known as process is known as or method is known as substrate level phosphorylation. And the molecule which can directly generate ATP without undergoing electron transport chain are called high energy molecules. And the high energy molecules are also called as phosphogens. So phosphogens directly generate ATP without undergoing electron transport chain. So these are the three methods of ATP production process in living organisms. One is oxidative phosphorylation, where it takes place in mitochondria, and second one is photophosphorylation, where it taking place in chloroplast. And third one is substrate level phosphorylation. Wherever the high energy molecules are there or phosphogens are there, these phosphogens directly produce ATP by converting to another type of molecule. One best example is in glycolysis, phosphoenol pyruvate converted into pyruvate by producing ATP directly without undergoing electron transport chain. That's why here phosphoenol pyruvate is known as high energy compound or phosphogens. So these are the three methods of ATP production process in living organisms. Thank you for listening.